Welcome back. Game number 2 here for this best of 5. Vega Squadron against Virtus.Pro. Game number 1 was a little bit one-sided. The draft from Vega didn't quite work out for them. Their pushing lineup, it kind of fell short of the mark. And if you guys don't stop spamming lol in chat, I am going to flip a flipping table. It's getting a little bit too much. A little bit too much. Uncle Knox is going to come and knock you down. But my co-caster, Moppax, how you doing? Nature's Prophet, first phase ban. You surprised at all?
A little bit. I'm feeling pretty good for Vega Squadron this time, though. Already starting out with that puck for no one. I mean, this is the hero. This is what he came in with. This is like, I believe it was Dota Pit Season 2, I want to say, where he came out of nowhere and was just suddenly like this player. Like, he basically brought Vega into that tournament. I can just remember seeing these insane puck games from him when basically I think only S4 was the one really playing the hero that much at the time. So he did it again at Star Ladder. It's a pretty crazy game, so I'm very excited to see him on the hero again. I don't remember the last time I even got to cast one of these games with no one in his puck. And then on top of that, they even got a lone druid. So a hero that is a little bit better in those early laning stages in terms of like that early pressure coming in and being survivable for them as well, which is something that we just saw VP have a great time with, being on the dire side, and you can kind of expect the same thing here from Vega Squadron.
I get the G Invoker though. Can't wait to see this in action. He's played Invoker for quite some time. His G, his Queen of Pain, his TA, Shadow Fiend, they're all kind of signature heroes for him. But Invoker back in the Crosswex days, he showed people how to absolutely dominate on that one. With a Faceless Void. Interesting. I mean, Outworld Devourer has been ignored so far, Enchantress as well. You could definitely see them come through in the second phase, but I think both of them are likely to be second phase banned, aren't they?
One would think so here. Man, I haven't seen a first phase Faceless Void in a while, though. I'm liking this. The Invoker, the Faceless Void. I'm always down for some big combos. Obviously, a great hero up against Puck. Typically, you don't generally get to grab the Faceless Void. He probably would have been banned out by Vega in this second phase. I don't know if they'll have to go back for something like the Night Stalker as well if you want that second element of control and not just the Chronosphere. And you'll see, yes, they will take out that OD. The other classic combo, Invoker, OD, Faceless Void. Not much more you can ask for these days. So what do they want with their Lone Druid and their Puck? We still do have the Beastmaster. Could come out for Meg, and they throw that bear over to FN, get some nice attack speed to help him out.
Yeah, I definitely could. 5 seconds remaining. But Virtus.Pro, what heroes has FNG been playing recently? Because every time I've watched VP, he's played Nature's Prophet, and now he doesn't get it. What other heroes has he been running? Do you have any recollection?
I know he ran the Brood the other day.
Okay.
Now, I do think the Meg is the lone druid player, I do believe. I don't think I've actually seen FN, at least not lately, play the lone druid, so I think that is what VP are going to be assuming here. So we're probably still looking for that position 1. Now, hopefully, I do think that if FN can play the lone druid, that's like massive right now, because if they could pick up like a Meg Beastmaster, I think that'd be very solid. Dire side too.
I'm just looking back. He's played a bit of Night Stalker, a bit of Darkseer, a bit of this, bit of that. I could see the Night Stalker here actually up against the Puck, having that silence available and maybe the roaming power out. For maybe your support role here for Virtus.Pro. But Faceless Void goes in the hands of FNG. I can't actually see Faceless Void in any of his like past 6-7 games, but of course it's not a difficult hero to master. Wagamama in chat will attest to that. You just buy Vanguard and Radiance and you win every game, don't you?
It couldn't be easier.
Could not be easier. Just pick it for 3 points. The Wagamama build. Absolute bane of my existence in pubs. it's like when Arteezy bought Veil of Discord on Mirana, and
oh yeah, that was the bee's knees for a while. Man.
God.
Every game.
It seeped into my pubs, and it's just please, I beg, because like there are situations where it's good, obviously, but some people got it into their heads that it's good every game, or it's what's needed every game, and it's a little bit tilting sometimes. But 5K pubs, what can I say? It's the trash tier. It's the absolute trench.
I want to see some really like aggressive carry here right now for Vega Squadron. So they'll pick up the Disruptor for now, but assuming this is going to be Mag on the Beastmaster, you've already got no one on the Puck. I don't think you could ask for a better player-hero combination to make this space for your Lone Druid, right? Like, this is the kind of stuff that you're looking for. So they could be heading into, like, typically it could be like the Queen of Pain, even in the same scenario with the Lone Druid, is what you'll often see. And for when it comes to this safe lane hero, it'll probably be something like the Gyrocopter. They've done Wraithing in the past, which would be pretty sick. Unfortunately, there's an Invoker, so I think that might be just a wee bit too risky. Especially because they just banned out a Doom. I mean, that's half the fun, right? So yeah, probably be Gyro, Jug, something along those lines. And on the other side, VP, they're going to start looking towards who else wants to pair up with this Invoker, you know? We have seen, of course, the old Faceless Void Sven. It can still be very potent, especially when you already have the Invoker. Like someone who can still do that range damage. And Faceless Void, he chronos one group, you stun the other, or he just kind of sets up for a nice stun into the cleave. And if you're really good, like I'm sure FNG probably will be with his chronos, maybe you can get them right on that outside lip. But,
you do want some people to deal with Lone Druid though, particularly in the laning stage. You know, we've seen Clinks, we've seen Chaos Knight and stuff like that, just trying to jump in onto the Lone Druid, especially when you've got a Lion with those double disables, able to maybe wrap in from the side from that Radiant safe lane. You know, just hug the trees, come in, make sure you de-ward whatever the Lone Druid has lying around if he's got vision across that area. But Vega, their lineup right now, it kind of feels they're going the same way as their previous draft. They've got Lone Druid to maybe secure them a bit of mid-game to late-game prominence, but so far, Disruptor and Puck, they are aggressive early-game heroes that like to be ahead and they want to keep piling on the pressure over and over again. Just roam, glimpse, jump, kill. And you just cycle that motion over and over again. But if they start getting behind in the laning stage, Virtus.Pro already have 3 heroes that, you know, don't necessarily need items coming out of laning stage. If they get the Midas and Invoker by 12 minutes, you might not be ecstatic, but you'll still be satisfied with the way things have gone. Faceless Void, similar story, just want your level 6, maybe your treads, and you can farm yourself in the jungle with an Iron Talon if needs be, while Lion is the same story, you know, Tranquil Boots and whatever else is luxury. Blink Dagger, Ether Lens, you don't need it, but they're nice.
Yeah.
But Vega Squadron, they need Blink on Puck, they need Midas and Radiance on the Lone Druid. Disruptor doesn't need items, but with this Ursa, it's even more early game aggression.
Virtus.Pro's turn to pick.
Yeah, this will be interesting. I want to see something like the Night Stalker, I think, for Vega Squadron. Is this forward? Like, I don't think they want a hero that's really in the jungle, like banning out that Doom. They want to be looking into more someone that's going to be getting active and aggressive with the puck, right? Not only do you have to buy space for the Lone Druid, now you do actually have to buy a little bit for an Ursa as well. Like, he needs that Blink Dagger. You want that nice control over the pit. And I think having someone like Night Stalker just... Not only does he get that great early aggression, but he really comes into it kind of in that mid-game where he's got a lot of solid levels now up into the silence. He's going to be getting on top of that Invoker. There's the Clinks, of course, coming out for VP up against the Bear. With your mid lane already decided, like no Wind Rangers coming out or anything like that. So kind of that last big single target physical damage with the Ursa being picked up here from Vega Squadron and get a little bit of minus armor out from them.
Super good in the laning stage as well. You know, the exact scenario I said, Radiant side, Clinks just like goes invis. You let the wave come into your tower, and during that period before the waves actually meet, you go invis and run behind the Bear with your Lion, like moving in across the tree line to wrap in behind. And you can so easily kill off the actual hero of the Lone Druid that Vega, Mag might have to spend a little more time in the jungle than originally intended. But 5th band's coming out. What we're looking at, another support for Virtus.Pro, maybe the greedier jungle one. There's no Chen, there's no Enchantress, there's nothing like that. There's no Bounty, no Earth Spirit. All of the main roamers have actually been taken out, but I still kind of like the idea of maybe a Night Stalker here for them to do that kind of job. Well, Enigma, that's the safe and sound ban up against the Dire Side Vega Squadron. Dire Side jungle Enigma.
I'm sure they should take that right now, the Night Stalker. Like, it's so good against the Clinks, the Invoker. It's something that they've done before from Vega Squadron. Everything else is essentially banned out here.
I was thinking
I don't even know.
I think both ways. Either team could do Night Stalker pretty nicely.
Yeah, I think maybe like the CM for VP, only because they have the Faceless Void. The Witch Doctor's been banned out. Now it's a little bit scary against Ursa with the Enrage, but I think it's good against the Bear too. You can create some nice bit of space, help deal with that Lone Druid in the off lane too, with the help of the Lion, and you can be a little bit greedy in the jungle if it comes to that too. So I think that's the general, like, what I would say are the standout 1-2s here. But we'll see if they got something up their sleeves, and oh man, do they ever have something up their sleeves. Talk about a little bit of greed. They are not going to be getting too aggressive. This, I feel like, is going to have a hard time buying that space. Like, yes, no one now can dive some towers, but I don't know. It's going to be a big setup for your disruptor in the very least.
Maybe keeps the Lone Druid alive and gives Puck. See, the thing is with the Treant, it's often seen as, you know, that defensive quote-unquote support that sits back in the jungle, stacks and pulls, and just throws living armor to save people. But it also gives you a lot of aggressive potential. If you're this Puck in the mid lane, right now you don't know if you're going to be roamed on because of this 5th pick from Virtus.Pro, but you're going to be feeling pretty happy that with the living armor you can play aggressively and push forward into the Invoker with Illusory Orbs and play up on top of his ramp and not really care too much about Forge Spirit and Cold Snap damage. But the Phoenix comes out of them, and now they've got the Chrono plus Supernova combination once they hit their level 6s, as well as a good way of dealing with the Spirit Bear. We've seen how well the Sunray does, burning through the Bear's HP, but it's also going to be able to keep maybe the Clinks and the Invoker alive in these engagements where Ursa jumps on them and tries to rip them to shreds.
Yeah, this is one of those heroes that everyone felt was going to come out over at Start Ladder. You know, constantly talked about by the panel, in definitely great scenarios. I mean, this is that percent base damage that you look at. Doom ended up being a little bit more popular and also having that in the Infernal Blade, but going to be very solid up against the Lone Druid, up against that Ursa. And they already have some really good control, of course, from the Chronosphere, from Invoker, from the Lion, so you can kind of get away with someone without too many stuns and more just a little bit of attack slow. And, of course, another great Wombo combo to go with the Chronosphere. So coming out of this, I gotta say, I am favoring VP's draft. I think it looks a lot more cohesive, much more solid, and I feel like they're gonna have a very difficult time from the side of Vega actually buying this space for Mag as well as FN. Like, you do need that Blink Dagger, and I love No One. I think he's the best Puck, but he's, I think, gonna have a hard time getting into that Blink Dagger.
Where did that Sunstrike go? Oh, it's scattered out somewhere. I wish there was an indicator on the map showing where it went to. It looks like VP are a little bit concerned about a level 1 Roshan. They're pinging out the pit. They might want to scout into there with maybe the Clink's invis, but it's a smoke into this jungle. Sunstrike. Of course, they've got that long-range artillery to give vision over into the pits. They know that it's not a Roshan attempt just yet anyway. This is Vega pushing very far forward, and the low dance is pretty slow. If they glimpse back, they'll catch him and bring him down, and your first blood goes the way of Mag. He did not react fast enough. It felt like he was looking elsewhere, and he just kind of walked into the meat grinder there of Vega, and they're going to secure themselves the bottom bounty rune for No One.
Yeah, I think he was trying to find some sort of an angle where he wouldn't still have the vision without breaking down that tree. So I think he had to walk a little bit, and he ends up cutting one of them, so still able to get that glimpse back there. And ends up being a success from Vega. I mean, so many dire side teams pulled that out. You could see the hesitation. Did he get it? Oh, he got it.
He got it. I thought that Vega might want to fight at bottom bounty rune and then just give the top one to someone else, but it's just going to be the 1-for-1 trade-off so far at these lanes as they get kicked off. FNG, no Stout Shield or anything, just 2 sets of Tango, Salve, Fairy Fire. I guess he can buy Stout Shield from the side shop if he wants to. G Invoker, though, up against No One's Puck towards the mid. And Solo, Jungle Treants, but no Iron Talon, just the Stout Shield, a bit of regen for himself, as well as that Leech Seed, so he might want to stack up some camps initially, while top lane, it's FNG Void, dealing with the FN Ursa, and Xioma the Slayer playing that Disruptor, the dual lane there, but look at the Bear, No Fear and Aloha Dance, already a pretty good job here, but No Fear, he's not able to block off those creeps. It's a 1-unit ramp for heroes, but not for little summons and creeps and things like that, as the resummon comes out from Mag already, keeping his Bear alive and just dragging the wave back away from this tower range, as his Lone Druid will face up against the tri-lane of Phoenix and Lion, as well as the Clinks. It's going to be a nasty one for him to try and handle that.
Yeah, that was only with the Icarus dive so far here from Aloha Dance, of course, needing it for that defensive purpose, so you can only imagine the difficulties Mag's going to be having with his Bear as Yoku now starts to make his way over there. So I can only think we'll probably be seeing some sort of, like, well, maybe we won't get the Iron Talon. It has kind of fallen out of favor for the Lone Druids. Oh, Mag comes in very deep there. Jeez. Gotta get out of here.
He cannot do that again. I mean, he's got a Salve on him, as well as the Fairy Fire, giving Brown Boots over to himself, just the Stout Shield over on his Bear, but in jumps Aloha Dance, top lane. FNG gonna get himself a little bit further away with the glimpse back as well. Xioma the Slayer drags him into FN, and this damage output, it's good enough to get themselves another kill down here. While Mag will salve himself back up to full HP, and they didn't, or couldn't, commit in behind that tier 1.
I mean, these are two of the best heroes up against the Faceless Void. It's kind of like your Darkseer, same idea here. Just trying to deal with that time walks, using the glimpse, using even maybe the kinetic field as we get into it, and then of course Ursa There's not many heroes that can actually take advantage of a little bit of lockdown on the Faceless Void at these early levels thanks to Time Walk, but these big cooldowns as well, and the lower ones that are going to be there on FN, it's going to be a very rough lane here for FNG.
I mean, Mag might have to send his bear back to base at this point. He'll jump it to himself, but 25 seconds until the resummon. He'll farm through this little camp. Get himself to level 4, but without the Savage Roar, you don't really look to that until level 4 or level 5 for the Lone Druid at this point. But I'm just waiting for this no one mid puck with the bottle coming in. Aloha Dance might be able to snipe this with a dive forward. The bottle comes in and gets delivered, but the courier 2 hits in. Aloha Dance going to secure the courier kill while G Fairy Fire damage output. Oh man! G gets the kill as the orb is launched at the exact same time, but Puck won't get the experience from it.
Alright, well this is exactly what we're talking about, right? Like this is, Mag gets zoned out because of these great control supports that they have, very anti-Lone Druid supports. That allows Aloha Dance to come into the mid lane, and he's going to be able to put this pressure on top of no one. So it does mean that there's obviously no pressure coming up here onto FN, so hopefully he'll be able to get some good farm up here and help secure his own Blink Dagger with this early kill on top of FNG. Seems to be having a little bit of a hard time controlling the wave, but he will get a pull here now, so this is perfect for him. And again, it's this pressure on no one. Like, now losing the courier, he really, really needs this Blink Dagger and needs to get active or somehow capitalize on like an early push in from VP, but they have no reason to do that, you know? This isn't a very primed counter-initiation style that no one will actually be able to capitalize on.
And he's used his orb aggressively as well, looking for CS, and with the damage output here, this fiery spirits from Aloha Dance, no one. Phase shifts out, but he's still going to drop. Looking for the kill back in Aloha Dance, he's barely going to escape with 10 health. Virtus.Pro, again, happy with his trade at the mid lane. You're talking about Puck needing the good early start to rush into that Blink Dagger and really control the tempo. Not working out for him just yet. Oh, Solo. I don't know, man. You need to be spamming out these living armors. Not just using them on yourself to farm the jungle.
I mean, this is the Gallblack style, blame Gallblack here, guys, you know? This was something that when the Iron Talent first came out, they started rocking this, and they would go into the Agnum Scepter, and this is kind of where maybe it's not going to be that big of a deal if no one doesn't get the massive stat. Like, this is kind of their fallback plan. As now you see Aloha Dance, he's like, I've meddled with the mid enough. I think I'm going to start making my way up top here.
But No Fear wants to get in on mid again. Or, by again, I mean VP. This line, first kind of movement towards it, no one doesn't realize this line is invisible. And with a level 2 in Earth Spike, and now the Hex leveled up, they could look for the kill here. There's the phase shift used already with the Hex to start things off. The Sunstrike is down and the damage output is perfect. Vega! They need to start controlling up this mid lane because the rotations in from VP have been absolutely spot on. While up at top, yeah, you're looking at the Phoenix just burned down from the Thunderstrike, but he still has Sunray as well as Icarus Dive. I could potentially look for a kill onto Shoma the Slayer there.
I don't know at what point this Train Protector is actually going to come online.
After his Hand of Midas. Doing? Hand of Midas and Radiance. Oh yeah.
Hopefully we won't be dealing with that.
Well, Treant used to be one of the few heroes that in Dota 1 people wouldn't buy boots on. Weaver and Treant Protector. Don't buy boots because we have Invis. Buy Radiance and farm instead. I miss Dota 1 when people wouldn't buy Sentry Walls or Dust and you could literally just go Invis any way you wanted and burn them with Radiance Burn.
God, I just noticed that G's level 7 and no one's still not even halfway to level 5.
Oh, yeah.
This pressure from Aloha Dance, like he killed it on the Doom last game. Absolutely murdered everything. And now even on this Phoenix, look how aggressive and active he's being. He's got his Tranquils, got himself a little clarity so he doesn't have to go back to base. He was popping those things like candy on the Doom too. Just walking around the jungle, shoving those things in. This guy is someone who is very capable of applying this pressure. And it's nice to see him back on this role. I think this is where he really shines.
They want to make a go in on the Lone Druid here, but Lion kind of has to start things off. They need a fresh wave into this tier 1. But in the meantime, we can look at this Invoker and, you know, I see
he's gonna find Solo. He's gonna find him.
Oh man, he's got Nature's Guise. He has invisibility and he's actually surviving through this a decent amount, trying to juke himself away from the Sunray. Aloha Dance got to try and dive himself away from this, but Sioma's in here, no mana for a glimpse, turns back to try and fight this, but the Spirit Bear comes in, dives forward, but it's not far enough. The illusions from Puck will secure the kill. And Vega, they get something for their troubles at the very least.
Man, what a heads-up play by Solo. I think a lot of people would have just panicked, including myself, and just popped that Nature's Guise and been out of there, but Gets the TP to come in from his support, good communication, get a little rotation, and of course, nothing better could have happened than no one picking that up right. Like, actually getting some recovery. Now level 6.5 into the Dream Coil. It's still a long ways away from the blink. You gotta imagine he'll skip those treads.
But this is a 7.5 minute Midas here from G. Pretty damn good timing. But I do want to talk about the Ring of Aquila on Invoker, because we've seen this a lot from Chinese, Southeast Asian teams, then switched over to like NA. European teams have been a little bit slow to adopt this build. But old Exile Invoker builds pretty much always used to be Null Talisman, Brand Boots, Ring of Basilius, then you go into the Midas, and then you just build up from player preference after that. It used to pretty much always be the same standard build. But people have started realizing that with limited item slots, especially now Fairy Fires are added and maybe having to buy a wand here or there, it's so much more efficient to go for Wraithband first. You lose that out on, a little bit of damage. It's not a massive amount. And you still keep that one item slot, just combine up into the Ring of Aquila. Gives you the armor you need that you lost in, the last patch after a little bit of a nerf, but jump in onto mid. The Dream Coil is down, but G was ready to counter-initiate here. The Glimpse back sends him a little bit further away, but No Fear still not dead. And Yoku comes in, slices him down. These searing arrows burn through no one. Another hit's needed. The jump he catches with the Sunstrike. G finally gets the kill, but that was beautiful play by No One, very nearly escaping.
I think No One took his hands off the keyboard to wipe his brow. Ends up getting whacked down by the Sunstrike. That is rough. Making some very slippery plays, but in the end, they just don't give up. VP, they know, No One, he's always got one trick left in the bag, but he was one shy that time. And they'll claim that tier 1 tower. It was only really a matter of time, the way this lane was going. And G, of course, with that very early Midas, as he'd already pointed out here. So now where do they go? I mean, Chronosphere, not even need to be committed there in that big mid engagement. FNG just kind of wandering around, trying to find his new place in life with the FN already level 8 Phase Boots, Morbid Mask. Not very much that he can do up there. No Fear will just come to soak and try and get his finger of death.
Well, this is the thing, right? It's a similar story to the previous game, a little bit reversed, because FN has been given fully free farm up on this top lane. This Ursa is level 8. He's got a fair amount of gold. His Mask of Manus is out on its way. The Hand of Midas is ready for mag. Vega, they've got a lot more mid-late game potential here between the Lone Druid and the Ursa than they did in the previous one. So having a more static game like this, No One is the only guy that's really struggling here. He's got 1,000 gold, likely to try and rush into the Blink Dagger, then try and finish off the treads or anything like that. But when does the first big Roshan come? Because Ursa has these kind of weird timings where he gets his phase, Mask of Manus, goes into the jungle, then he goes for Roshan to give him the last bit of gold to buy Blink Dagger, and then he goes and fights people. But I think he still needs a little more time building up here as Yoku, with No Fear, hunting solo, but the big bad bear, he wants to stop this picnic in his jungle, and FN will be able to scare them off a little bit. Well, Sioma TP's away, so there's no chrono there from FNG, who was scouting out and looking for the pick.
Well, when it comes, I think probably anytime really now for FN. It looks like they're going in for it now. They have the smoke up onto solo. And you can see, though, Forge Spirits scaling it out here. It might be a very fortunate timing. They're actually just going to face check it first.
Well, Aloha dives away. And FN does go straight into the pit. A little bit earlier than, we often expect to see. Trouble is, Virtus.Pro, they are in the vicinity looking to maybe fight this Yoku within a sentry. The chrono, where is it though? Static Storm's dropped on Aloha dance only. He's level 6 and the Supernova's gone. But in comes FNG. He's going to catch two of them. The Ursa and the Puck, they both caught in here. The Sunstrike will land down onto FN, the damage output. No, he misses! G didn't land it. He doesn't catch onto the Ursa that's dead now. The edge picked up by FN, and the drag back as Yoku glimpsed into Oblivion, and G's trapped in the field as well. FNG still trying to battle his way through, but FN swipes him down with a big bad bear and No Fear. What have you got left? Earth Spike in 2 seconds time. He can turn, he can stun, but is he going to be able to escape? 5 stick on his left. He's got no hex, no stun, no way of escaping. And FN is just going to hunt him down. Cuts to the tree. The Juke's here from No Fear, but Solo and FN, they'll just keep on going.
Well, you said, where's that chrono coming in? It was just a little bit too late there. Couldn't quite get that perfect positioning, and ends up getting a really bad split where you have the Sunstrike coming out on the Ursa, and then you don't have the targets coming out on the Puck. His death gets delayed. Now, they do eventually bring him down, but I think because of that, obviously missing the Sunstrike, a little bit of an issue there.
Just a little.
just a wee bit. But yeah, just not quite that right synchronization that you need. They didn't have the egg ready from Aloha Dance. And things just did not come together for VP, so Vega get a much-needed victory there, and you're going to see that net worth graph just plummet. Oh my god. We're actually into Vega's side after being up 3k for VP.
It was perfect targeting there by Vega. They saw the Phoenix, they saw he's level 6, they static storm and they kill him. No supernova, no combo with the chrono, nothing for VP to fight around that Roshan pit. And now you're starting to see maybe the strength of this Treant with the living armor, keeping his allies alive as that nice little savage roll will allow Mag to escape out a little bit further. Sitting on 1500 gold as well, he's closing in on that relic timing. Oh gee, 3, 1 and 2, he's going to have to try and run himself away from this one. Sioma's looking for the glimpse and they'll get him as well, drags him back, the blink is there from FN and G's trapped in the silence, gives away his own life and he's not even going to get this Tier 1 tower, or is he with the illusions denied out by Sioma the Slayer, the Disruptor. Nice little snipe out there. And no one. That Blink Dagger we thought was going to be massively delayed. It's coming. It's like 30 gold away.
Yeah, I mean, consider it a late timing here from no one. Would have been even faster if it wasn't for that death, but that's alright. Everything's operational now. You know, FN's had a great old time. He's got his own Blink Dagger, of course. And now the counterplays from VP, they need to get back on top of this somehow, because obviously the Ursa draft falls behind once, or rather, I guess the your win percentages drop pretty massively if he gets a little bit behind here. Oh, Yoku scouting out. They will dust him. Orb will find him. Dream Coil. Nicely played.
Yoku, you need to be farming this Desolator, mate. He's got the recipe and a Mithril Hammer, but he's hunting for these kills to try and grab himself anything. In the meantime, Mag is farming freely on bottom lane. And VP have slipped. Just a little bit. But it's definitely noticeable here as Vega, they've got the momentum behind them.
Dire's middle tower.
I mean, it is kind of this wombo combo draft. Oh, F&G, not knowing that Sioma was there. So, that's alright though. Max level time walk. Looks like he'll still be okay. Might have to, yeah.
He even chronos here, but FN jumps forward onto No Fear with a burst damage out of the puck. They clear him up, looking for the FNG Void now again. Doesn't have a chrono anymore. Cavalry's arriving, but it's Yoku. No real disable. Great sentry placement out. Sioma honestly has been massively on point with this. He got the one towards the Roche pit, seeing the clinks coming in from the side. And just keeping these sentries in very prime positions for where Yoku's going to be coming from. And this is wasting the clinks' time. He's coming into these fights, but he needs to be finishing off this Deso.
Oh, man. Oh, now they're on top of G too.
And they're going to be able to slow him down. FN, he's hungry and he wants this one. The cold snap and the glimpse back as well into the kind of field and static storm, and FNG jumps into it. They've got 3 of them in here. Yoku's trapped as well, and this is absolutely devastating. Vega, they are demolishing through, and Yoku doesn't even get the kill on the Disruptor. This clinks. FNG time walks into the static storm, and Yoku were just standing there ready and waiting to be sniped by it.
I mean, you look at this lineup here, like, look at the wombo combo, the chronosphere, the egg, and then even just the clinks and the invoker right from the outside piling everything in. But that's the problem though, if you don't get that big chrono, if you're using it in moments where you're trying to escape, and frankly that was also a pretty weak one. Like, he had vision of the Ursa when he threw it out too, and FNG, if he's not able to land these, it's going to be a very difficult game for them.
This is the derpiest haste rune animation I have ever seen on the Lone Druid. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just like floating around everywhere. 3,400 gold on Mag though, 16 minutes in, and he's basically got his relic. It's been an amazing comeback. That one Roshan fight has not only put Vega on the map, but put them in a dominant position. The 6k gold swing, maybe a little bit more, and the fact that it was a 0 experience difference and is now a 10k experience difference. Vega Squadron, well, where do you go from here? Keep on pushing, keep on farming. There's still tier 1 up at top to take. I guess you don't have the Aegis of the Immortal anymore, so FN can't play hyper aggressively.
I mean, this was this lineup that we were talking about, like, they need this Blink Dagger, everything comes online, and all the meanwhile, it's, once the Radiance is up, they're basically just buying time for a solo. Like, he's almost up into the point booster. I think it's pretty safe to assume he'll be heading straight into that Agnum Scepter unless they've got some other crazy, like, mech plan or something going on where they're just going to try and start forcing down the rest of these tier 1s and tier 2s. And speaking of which, it does look like the bottom, it's close to dropping. Of course, you always want to TP for these. You really want to try and save them with the Train Protector on your squad. And it looks like they will be able to.
Especially with this Treant. Yeah, you're right. Medallion Arcanes. He's stacking up these utility items and keeping all his towers alive where he can. This is Vega Squadron grouping up as 5, though.
It's not going to be this greedy build. So it does look like they want to stick together as they are right now. Not going to be heading into the Aghanim Scepter. Actually wants to be useful. And they're smoking.
Yoku will reveal it, but they've got vision over this perfectly. The 5-man Dream Core catches 4 of them. In fact, the 5, but the Static Storm's still down here, and FN just runs straight through them all. The Overgrowth is there, and no one blasted back with the Deafening as well. But the Sunstrike can finish him off, and G is dropped. Vega Squadron, they saw this perfectly. And the only one they didn't catch in that Dream Core was Yoku. FNG still trying to retreat out of this. Pops out the time dilation. But Vega, they placed the sentry to see where the Clinks was, knowing he was invis, and they knew they could smoke straight on top of them.
I mean, there was a ward right here that, that where you're drawing, I don't even know how much time I had left, like
6 or 7
maybe
seconds.
10 seconds?
Yeah.
I mean, what a fight to set up to. And again, though, like, there's no, that's not the situation for a Faceless Void. Like, that's not really so much on FNG. Like, what can you do at that point? You've already lost your Invoker, you lost your Phoenix. There's no point throwing out the Chrono then, and, you know, this is where this hero kind of pales in comparison to someone like a Tidehunter, you know? Like, maybe able to save everyone. If he tried to do that there, he just would have ended up chronoing his allies, and nothing good would have come of it.
And that's the full Radiance done now for your lone Druids. Are we looking at any bigger items here for the rest of them? No one still struggling a little bit, I want to say. Blink Dagger, but no Yules or anything like that. But they've got the Ursa and the lone Druid, the 2 bears, having an absolutely glorious time so far. But the Treant, yeah, back to what you were saying, it's not the greedy, like, Aghanim's build. What do you think he goes for next? I
don't think this is a worth Solar Crest game. Maybe it is, just because the Clinks just picked up his Desolator, so maybe you'll consider that enough. Like, it'll be a long time before he gets any sort of a Dispel item. So, I guess that's worth it, if you're not going to transition right into a mechanism or something like that. It's kind of helpful for your bear too, right, for these sieges? Just keep, like, popping the evasion on them.
Oh, for sure. VP need to execute. They need these team fights to be working out for them. Chrono and Supernova are yet to see that combination work. Of course, Invoker, he's going to get himself into the Aghanim Scepter sooner rather than later, hopefully, for G. And we'll get the big old Meteor Deafening Blast combos as well. He landed it nicely onto the puck previously, but is kept alive through it all with his nice little mobility. Yoku. There's a Ghost Scepter on Sioma. With the Sunstrike, the stun will clear him up, but Yoku is actually entangled up and cleared by FN. The Chrono's up to the Ursa only. The BKB's keeping alive, but the Sunray now down onto this Ursa. He's going to drop low. There's the Enrage. So send FN back to safety. Might be able to blink away from this. Time dilation's there. FN, Nature's Guise, turns the fight, kills off the Void. The Supernova drops. No, it doesn't. A kill there from no one will turn back onto Jeed, who tries to TP as there's a stun coming through. There's nothing to stop him. And 4 dead for the price of 1 there. Vega, they lose their Disruptor. It's a Sunstrike. Nice attempt to snipe out FN. But guess what, Modpacks? Roshan's alive, and Vega just won a big team fight.
Who's the Wombo combo lineup again here?
I believe it's VP, but we may have been mistaken when looking at their heroes.
I mean, once that 5th Treant comes out, we talked about, like, the setup for the Disruptor, and you look at all these AoE abilities, it's just allowing Meg, the Radiance, it's going to town, but he's also getting in there, getting a couple of roots, some right clicks, and FN just has complete pick of the litter as whoever he wants to totally wreck over on the side of VP. They just cannot find that synchronization, and so far ahead with an Ursa draft, that's one thing, and being behind this Wombo combo draft, you need that pure, perfect execution, and they still just cannot find it here.
FNG seems a little bit timid on this Faceless Void, you know, not quite sure where to land these Chronospheres. The one just now on the Ursa, it was a solo hero, but the target Ursa had gone on was already dead by the time it landed, and now you've got Yule Scepter over on your puck to try and dodge out from Invoker combinations. But I just want to say that Sioma the Slayer, not only has he been on point with sentry placement, but now he has that Ghost Scepter. Who does Yoku aim to kill? He can't go on any of these heroes. Lone Druid's too tanky, Ursa's got BKB Enrage, Puck has Yule's Blink, all the jumping abilities that you could possibly want. Ghost Scepter Disruptor. I guess Treant Protector, but then he goes Invis. He's got Medallion, he's got Overgrowth, Living Armor.
He might even buy a Ghost Stepper of his own as well, too. Wouldn't be the worst idea, but looks like they will try and find him. Oh, there we go. Oh, no one.
Still jump out. You can still jump out, and Solo going to feel the pain of that meteor, but G is the one. And it's demolished. You'll scepter up into the air. Did they have a silence or anything to stop FNG from jumping again with a time walk back up to full health? But the Dire's courier is dead, and no one keeps the chase going. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. So he's dead. He is dead.
I mean, they try to make some sort of play. Like, you got to get a little bit aggressive. And you're thinking, oh, it's just going to be a solo support, I'm sure, right? Like, yeah. And then suddenly no one shows up, and it's not just going to be the Invoker initiation. You try and go for the Faceless Void.
And the fact that Puck can get outside of Chrono from phase shift as long as she's facing
yeah, as
the
long
correct
as you
direction.
shift first. Yeah, that's all that matters.
And, like, with phase shift, like, you can phase shift blink, but only if you blink in the correct direction. But Illusory Orb is just like, see ya, I'm out. I'm gone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're going. As long as that thing just happens to be flying through the air. A little bit fortunate there from no one. Didn't have to waste the blink. Allows them to get that perfect counter initiation right back in too. So they have just secured another team fight. Their 2 cores are each 3 and 4K ahead of the next highest cores on the side of EP. You gotta think they're feeling pretty damn good about the current situation. They still have the Aegis for how much longer now? Oh god, that is a long time.
Oh yeah.
They can certainly go high ground if they would like.
And they've got the full Solar Crest now over on the Treant, so like you said, throwing this onto the Spirit Bear and allowing him to demolish down this tier 3. Living armor as well. The Spirit Bear, okay. Okay, plus 15 armor. He's got the Treant living armor and everything to go up on him. Dodge out from the Earth Spike. Hello, Hard Ants. A little bit wary of the movement of the puck. The glimpse back as well. Still silenced. The damage output not quite there, so FN has to focus down the Supernova itself, but they've still got the edge of the Immortal. Deafening Blast of Meteor. Gee, who are you focusing on? There's nobody there. Misses completely. While FNG has the Chrono available at this moment in time, the Deafening Blast is thrown out with the Static Storms down onto Yoku and G as well, and FNG cannot jump in. This might just be game over. The buyback from the Invokers to come back out as Yoku returns to the fight as well.
This looks familiar.
Vega Squadron, 24 minutes in. They'll find FN, but that's only the Aegis. Solo still not dying to the clinks. The damage output's not good enough, and with the lead seed forward, Vega Squadron just running rampant through the ranks here of Virtus.Pro. One by one, they'll fall, and with no buyback available on the Invoker, it's GG time. It's game over. That is almost identical to game number 1, but reversed.
I mean, we said it, blow for blow, man. These 2 teams, they are just 2 squads that love going at it. Oh, we got to see it in Star Ladder. It went to game 3, and now we get ourselves a best of 5. The no one Puck, it comes out. It has a rough start. Everyone else kind of carried him through the intro, and then he led the rest of the way with those big team fight initiations, showing them how it's done over the side of VP for the big wombo combo. So we'll see what they want to go for next. Still plenty of tricks, like both teams showing very versatile drafts, very different stuff. Of course, each game one being much more